Well, it's no more thrifting for me. Now, I know what you're saying. You're probably saying, well, what's he saying? That's no more thrifting for me. Well, realistically, I want you to understand that when I say that, this is not a careless whisper. So I'm never gonna thrift again. Empty stores with nothing in them. Though it's easy to pretend. You know I'm not a fool. Should have known better, this would be a trend. Stop wasting time just wandering in them. No, I'm never going to thrift again the way I used to do. Ah. Welcome to Two Dogs Digs. Thanks for joining us here on a Tuesday night for our live thrift haul. And our story tonight is no more thrifting for me. Thank you, Jennifer. Somebody appreciate it. Yes, I'm singing again. I've decided I'm going to sing again. I decided that's going to be part of it. I want to do that. I like doing that. I've decided I'm going to do it. I'm not sure why. Rick is...
I'm so dark.
You're so dark down there.
Let me fix that.
I don't know why you're so dark down there. That's really strange. Thank you, Janet.
How's that?
I'll do an encore later on.
Is that better?
That's much better. Big hello to everybody. Thank you for joining us here on Tuesday. And a big extra special thank you for Daryl. Thank you for joining the Kennel Club. For $3 a month, you can actually help support us and supporting you in ways that you can actually make some money on your reselling journey. Plus, you join our Kennel Club Facebook group. And now what's new, it's going to be starting as of last week and actually going to happen all the time, is every other week we are going to do Kennel Club videos. So we're going to be live on Tuesday nights for the Kennel Club only on Tuesday nights. And then every other night, like tonight, we're live here for everybody. So we're going to alternate between a
I'm
full
not
live.
live.
Huh?
I'm not live.
Well, we're almost dead.
You can't prove that I am live.
We're almost dead because we actually moved into our antique booth today. So we'll take you through that
later.
Yeah, no, we'll take you through that later. So a big hello to everybody. Just want to say hi to everybody. Let me go in here. Hello, Diana. Well, I don't know where Rick just went. Hello, Diana. We saw you. You went up there today and to the antique mall, and you actually left right before we got there.
I left so you can shine.
Oh, thank you, Michael. Hey, Susan, Janet, Mr. Carl, Sherilyn, Jennifer, Kendra. Hello, Marianne, Andrew. If I didn't say it already, Elisa. Hello, Leanne, Mr. Greg. Hello, sir. You're watching today here instead of at home or on the TV. Is Lisa Boland, Michael, Brian, and Charmaine. Tatiana. I gotta know, Tatiana. Is it Tatiana or Tatiana? Which one? Tatiana or Tatiana? Because I'm gonna say it wrong. Last time I thought about that last week, and I thought I gotta make sure I'm saying your name right. Sherry. Is it Sherry or Sherry? No, I'm kidding. Dawn. Tamara, which could also be Tamara. I don't know. I'm gonna be going all over the place this time. Who knows about this kind of stuff? Yep, we're doing Kennel Club Lives now every other Tuesday. So we don't know what we're going to talk about in them, but it's just an extra way for the Kennel Club. T-Mac, hello. And who's that? You cannot prove. I cannot prove that you're live or not. But I do believe that you're downstairs. There he is, downstairs dog. And I'm no thrift doggy today. So what we were chatting about, and this is actually something I think I may have mentioned it last week, but and I may have mentioned it in our last live hall pass 2 weeks ago, was it's being, oh, that's very nice. AI could not get your hair that perfect. Oh, sorry, I think you're talking about Rick. Always Tamara, not Tamara. It's going to be Bob or Bob. Heather, and a big congrats. Heather actually and Bob, finally, they put their house up, and market's a little slow in North Carolina, but they sold their house. Yay! And they found a new place to move it. Yay! So congratulations to them for doing that. They're downsizing their business. They're trying all sorts of different stuff with that. Hi, Sandy. So today We talked about it before, and one of the things I noticed, I think I did a count, and I actually figured out that in the past, probably 3 to 4 weeks, I have visited 30, I'm going to say at least 30 thrift stores. Now, not 30 different thrift stores. So let's preface that. It's probably about 10 to 12 different thrift stores multiple times. And I am been surprised because I literally have found nothing. I mean it. Like, okay, I found one thing, and that was actually furniture for our antique booth. So I'm not really counting that. I'm glad we found it, and I'll show that to you. But when I show you the booth stuff later, but nothing else. Like, I'm putting nothing in my cart, and it's actually sort of shocking and surprising to me. But I just wanted to show you something I thought which was interesting. Is like today, I was at 2. This is actually one of the busiest ones I normally go to. This is the shopping carts sitting available at the thrift store.
It's Tuesday. Is it
Senior Tuesday?
Senior Day.
Now, there are usually no carts. Like, I can tell you, last fall, if I got to this store on a Tuesday in the afternoon, I literally was jockeying for positioning at the actual checkouts so that I could grab a cart that somebody was finished with. Like, it was that crazy to try and find a cart. And that's not the only one either. This happened to be a Value Village, but there was another Value Village which was the exact same thing. And I've actually gone to the Salvation Army and found tons of carts. And again, I used to see not very many. Hey, Joel! Not too many carts.
I've been going into a couple of stores with them, and normally I have to threaten to punch people inside my head to get them the hell out of my way. And it's not enjoyable for me anymore because there's nobody to threaten to punch in my head.
And you changed your name to Schrodinger's dog? What does that mean?
Am I here? Am I alive or am I not? I can be alive and not alive at the same time.
Okay. I don't know. How are you doing in our antique booth? We don't know. We picked it up today. Today was our first day, actually. Yeah, actually, well, he does it in his inner, as opposed to out loud. Sometimes he has said it out loud.
Actually, there have been a few times when I very loudly tell Craig across a couple of aisles, "Oh man, I could have punched her."
Yes.
And then I point at it.
Sometimes doesn't say it in that nice a language.
Oh no. No, I use filthy
He has a
names.
couple of really foul words that we wouldn't want to use on our YouTube channel.
No, we could, but we'd be bad.
We could, but we're not. But like that's one thing. And then just to give you an example, even some of the racks, I could only find one picture. I took this picture of like a rack that normally is piled to the top with all sorts of linens. This is all that's at it today. That's it. Like, and normally, again, it's like 2 or 3 inches piled with packages and packages and everything like that. So again, it's a bit of a surprise. And I think there's a lot of different things that are going on about it. But what I think is the biggest thing is I wonder the effect of a lot of different things, including tariffs and all of that stuff, the economy. I think there's a lot of people who that are going out, I guess. I really don't know. Less people donating because of their outrageous pricing. Well, that could be true for some Value Villages, but that seems to be the one. But I know that like some of the places that we also go to, which include Salvation Army, Goodwill, Bibles for Missions, there's a couple other different ones. I can't remember what they are. Trees, like they're just, I'm not seeing anything. But again, I thought it was interesting because I asked in our Facebook group, I said, this is what the post is going to be about today. And hey, Julie, hello. And so I just want to show you some of the posts that people put up because I thought, oh, it's me. And so Valinda put a post in there that says that we're hoping that with spring, people will start donating again, but slim pickings. Even the ladies in the local thrift said their back rooms are empty. Christina Lee went thrifting at 3 places that usually have really good pickings, came home with 2 items. This is the big sort of feeling. Can't wait for garage sales to start up. Ian, I've dramatically cut back my trips, and this is the exact same thing in my head. I've dramatically cut back my thrift store trips because I was doing nothing but wasting time and money week after week, coming and going with next to nothing. I focused my time on lower profit margin items that consist of very high quality and high sell-through rate. I don't know if that I focused my time, or maybe he did. Online auctions and local Facebook groups have been main areas for sourcing. Garage sale season is around the corner. Thank God. Yeah, there.
Yes,
Nancy
with
Kennedy.
all of the tables where people print out the eBay listing price.
Yeah. Nancy Kennedy, I've been away for the winter and haven't been thrifting. I dropped into Toulouse to see what they had, and there was nothing interesting. I put my cart back empty. But on a happy note, started spring cleaning and the profit pile just got larger, a bunch of stuff to list. Haven't really made a huge effort since I got back to Poshmark and one eBay sale. Nothing to make you rich, but yeah. And then Elizabeth Jensen, every time I go thrifting, there hasn't been anything, and I'm only a casual thrifter. To tell you, I hope it changes with the coming of spring. I remember last spring, the prices in the stores were lower because they had so much stuff. That's actually a really good price. I think I think if there's more, the more stuff they get, the more they're trying to get through it. So Renee is in New York, and in thrift store prices are beginning to get outrageous to source things. It's really aggressive. There are some resellers at Savers that I go to. They practically block the entryway. Yes, that's the brains, zombies for brains attitude that I have. There's one place that I go to that's exact same as that, Renee, which is there are 5 or 6 of the people, and they literally sit around the door where the cart comes out. You can't, and there's shelves around there, so you can't even look at anything that's on the shelves because they're sitting in chairs and leaning and chatting, and then a cart comes out, and it's like 28 days later, running at them. So
they are very punchable.
They're very punchable. Susie said there's been slim pickings around, and the prices have jumped significantly as well. But Melanie's the lucky one. Her store is finally stocked up. So Melanie, good for you. You got a stocked up store. So Tina says the community sale starts Thursday. It'll be cold, but she'll be out there. I'm looking towards church sales. Yep, that I'm looking forward to. Elisa said she hasn't found anything worthwhile in months other than adult diapers and random worthless stuff. And I'm not sure. Okay. Rummage sales are starting this weekend. Oh, that was April that posted on. Yeah, says, I'm considering a what was I thinking yard sale. We're definitely reduce your profit pile. And I think that's the one thing that I will say that, hey, Charlene. Terrible. Andrew says they were terrible last year. I don't know. So this is, we're still a couple of months away from garage sales here too, Lisa. And I think the big change for me is that in all likelihood, we're not going to the States. You know, we used to go to the US, cross the border minimum once a month, sometimes twice a month, from probably late April all the way through to October. But we're not crossing into the States now for anything, for a lot of different reasons, mostly because there's potential for a lot of issues with Canadians going across the border, and we just don't want to deal with any of that. So we're not going to be going at all. And we recognize that a lot of people don't necessarily have the same feeling about Canadians that some people do, but there's a number of people who've expressed stay out of America. And so we just don't want to fall into anything with that. So what we're doing is we're looking at doing a bunch of different things this year. Like Brian and Charmaine have got the same idea, I think. So they live near the border, and they are going to be doing their thrift trips into Ontario. And we're going to be doing the same thing. I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, we're going to go, there's a big, huge sale in Ottawa, and it's called the Glebe. I don't know what it is. It's a gigantic multi-neighborhood thing. Remember, little Carl grew up in the Glebe. So like, we're going to go up to Ottawa for that. And we're going to make it a 3 or 4 day trip. We're going to drive through Kingston. We're going to go to the thrift stores and things like that there, and then go up there. So that's going to be some of our sourcing. We're looking at hopefully other garage sales that are in our area. But our biggest sourcing, our house.
Yes, our profit piles. Sandy Pratt had a question whether not going to the States is going to change our niche. Are you niche?
Our niche?
Our niche.
Are we niche?
I don't think we have a particular niche any longer. I have things I like to collect. You have things you like to collect. We both have things we look for, but it all depends on what the
I
selling
lost my
price
niche a
was.
long time ago.
You lost your niche?
I've been nicheless.
Aw.
So, no, I think if you think about when we do our Thrift It or Throw It shows and sort of the what sold, I don't know if we really have a niche. I know that I used to focus a lot on smalls and baggy wall type of things, but a lot in the toy section. But I think right now we're like 60% sort of maybe toy-ish.
Well, no, for me, the bigger the better. I mean,
and 50%, well, actually, maybe 50% toys.
Give me something that won't be shippable.
Toys and collectibles, and then 50% like China, giftware, paintings, furniture. Like it's like anything eclectic and weird and stuff we can resell. So we don't. I guess we're like Elisa. I think we're a generalist.
Yeah, we have specialties that we probably can pick out things that are. Yes.
We're eclectic.
Eclectic.
Yes.
Eclectic dreams.
Charmaine is there. No niche. Susan said she just spent last couple of weeks going through boxes and boxes of books each staff listed some and donated a bunch. Well, I tell you, like, yeah, I do like money. I tell you what, the thing is we're all over the place. Something I ended up doing, I thought I need to get something out for sale. So this happened to be last week. I'm going to show you two things that are sort of this is the last thing I thrifted. This is the last thing I thrifted. It was from a baggy wall. And it was over 30 days ago. And this is the last thing I thrifted. This is
Clip clop.
A little Cinderella clip clop horse.
Clip clop, clip clop. I was playing with it while I was taking the photographs.
What?
I played with it while I took the photos.
So this little clip clop horse, little people, Facebook, Fisher Price, little people, and I sold it for $20. I paid like $1 for it. So I just want you to think about if you have never.
It also sold very quickly. It was
yes,
like
it sold
a couple of days of being
3
listed.
days, 3 or 4 days. But yeah, so if you're ever thinking about trying to find something that is weird that you never thought looking at before, and the thing is, I know what this look like, and so I spotted this in a baggie. Look at this clip clop. There, let me see. Go down to solds. I priced it about $3 or $4 under what other people were because I wanted it to go fast, and it went. But look at this, the Prince, $48 just for the horse, the Prince and the horse. Look at this little racetrack, $256. So this is what it is. Is like, I guess it's like a little set where you see and this is the kind of thing if you could find this at like garage really sale. If you could find this at this is a garage sale probably find.
That's big, probably from the garage sale.
And it's probably from garage sale. Look at this. Quick. All this is $275, and the person who sold it has 0 feedback, so they still got it sold, and $15 shipping, all for a little people. So the horses go up and then they clippity clop down this. What year are they from? What year are they from?
I think it was 1999.
I don't. They're not that old. No. I'm trying to see if any of these have a year on them. But look at the prices on these things. Some of them is ridiculous. But now, yeah, look out for these $60. I don't know what year that. Nobody puts a year on them. I guess people don't really care about the year because they know. But again, look at the. So that's your bit. 2010. So not even 25 years old. So again, that was just a surprising thing. And then the other thing that I ended up trying to sell was I found some Nintendo. I thought I need some money, and getting ready for stuff at the booth that we're going, I went into my sort of magazine comic book area, and I found these Nintendo Power magazines. And I'd actually had them for a while. I got them for free. I got the entire series for free from somebody, basically as payment for some help that I gave them on something. And I've gotten rid of a lot of them, but I found these. And so I thought I'd put 4 of these up, and thank God I put 4 of them up, and every one of them I priced higher than like solds on this Nintendo Power magazine are in the $40 to $70 and $90 range. I put 4 of them up, 4 different ones at $125 a piece. And I sold all 4 to one person. And I had 2 other people mad at me because they were asking me about all 4. And then somebody came in and grabbed all 4 before they did. So that managed for me to be almost a $500 sale. And when you think about it, it's $500 US. So if you think about it on the Canadian side, that was like a $500 Canadian when you pay all your fees and everything like that. So we were really happy to see something like that come through because it gave us a little bit of money. Because we haven't found a ton of things with a ton of money on anything like that. I mean, even with some of the stuff that you're looking for, like I think last week in our Kennel Club or the week before, and I think it was Diana, who said, I'm looking for Easter. So I went looking for Easter. Look what I found for Easter. This is all I could find for Easter in my entire run around in the past week and a half. This is it. One shelf with bags of eggs, empty eggs. This is their Easter. Not only that, but look at these fabulous. There's some bags of eggs. Look at these fabulous things. Isn't that a special kind of?
So sad. Or googly eyes.
Googly eyes. And then another whole bag of them. So somebody's grandma's making napkin ring bunnies. This is all. That was it. This is Easter in a thrift store. This is ridiculous. Easter, that's like terrible. Hold on a sec. Rick started a couple of things. So, Lisa, how did you not know I was getting a booth? You must have missed that announcement. I think I mentioned it 2 weeks ago. Maybe. Yeah, probably 2 weeks ago. And I talked a little bit more about it last week in the Kennel Club. But yeah, it's part of it is the decision for us was we're looking at all the changes that are happening. And the changes that have been happening with the potential for the de minimis to go away. Our sales have been tanking on eBay, Etsy, etc. We're doing almost better on Facebook Marketplace now than we are on those. We did a good max sold. We've got one right now that's absolutely horrible. It's tanking for us. So what's ended up happening was we're thinking, how are we going to sell? So part of the thing that I'm looking at as a whole is the shop Canadian or shop local kind of attitude. And we're hoping in a way that we're looking at this as a way almost back, I call it pre-internet world. Like back 25 years ago, Rick and I used to sell, much to Rick's chagrin.
35 years ago.
Well, okay, 35 years ago. 30. Oh, yeah. 25 years ago is
you old. 25 years ago is the year 2000.
Yeah. I saw a post the other day that said, did you know that the difference between 1980 and 2025 is the exact same difference as between 1980 and 1935? So for us old people, that's like a bit of a shock to think that from 1980 to 1935 is the same time that it's been. Anyway, so we think that hopefully there's going to be a little bit more of a sort of insurgence of local shopping. And there's a lot of talk about focusing on that. A lot of people in Canada are focusing on the Buy Canadian. In fact, there's people who are actually, if you go to a grocery store, if you see a brand that is an American brand, people are turning the American brands upside down so that somebody can just look and spot and go, I know this is an American brand, to try and buy Canadian. we're going to know more about this tomorrow. April 2nd is when the tariffs are being announced.
At 4 o'clock in the Rose Garden with a mallet.
Yes, the Rose Garden of Jackie O's Rose Garden that's going to be paved over completely, but they're going to be announced, and we will find out whether there is a change to the de minimis. And that's the big thing for us as resellers, is whether or not anybody in the States is going to have to start paying duty on items of $800 or less. So that's our big, we don't know what's happening. So again, we have to pivot. That was part of our pivot show a couple of weeks ago. And pivoting was trying to find a way to sell someplace else. So that's where the booth came in. So that's just an interesting way for us to try and see if there's another way for us to make money doing this, because we do have a whole house, and that's part of what we were saying. When our sales go down, and there's a good and a bad about no more thrifting. Okay, first let me. I'm really not thrifting. Like I'm not like never thrifting again. I just haven't been able to buy a damn thing. So I may keep going thrifting, because you never know if all of a sudden out of the blue I might find, and if somebody did a dump of a whole bunch of things, and maybe there are a whole bunch of really pricey elephant figurines because somebody died, or they decided they hate elephants now, or they had to move into a home, or they got a divorce, whatever. If all of that stuff all of a sudden shows up at a thrift store, I want to be there when that happens. So I have a big FOMO. I'm a homo with a FOMO. There's no other way to put it other than that. I am always going to be a homo with a FOMO. So when I look at that, I'm going to have to go to the thrift stores. But because I haven't bought anything, I'm still looking to list. I'm looking to sell. So that's where we're actually going into our own stuff now. And that's...
Finally.
Well, yeah. But we've been selling a lot. In Facebook, we've sold a number of different things recently where it's just...
Surprisingly.
Here's a bunch of stuff that we found. It's like, okay, I'm going to put this into a bulk lot and sell it on Facebook, and I've got sales coming on a relatively regular basis. I price things well for things that we may have had sitting in a box that we didn't even think about for 10 years plus years. Then we'll go and do that. Like I'll pull that kind of stuff up too. So that's kind of a way for us to actually look at still thrifting technically, but if I don't find anything, I still got to sell. And that's what our profit piles are all about. And I think a lot of you have them too. And I actually was talking to somebody else recently who's a thrifter who doesn't resell. And
is this the little girl who lives down the lane that is infatuated with you?
Now, she sometimes watches the show.
I know. It's lovely.
But one of the challenges that she has is she loves to thrift and she loves to hunt, but she's bought stuff and then doesn't sell it. And so that's kind of an attitude that I'm trying to take.
Guilty
a little
as
bit.
Charged.
Huh?
Guilty as charged.
Well, that's kind of what we're trying to think of too, is like to go, okay, I'm going to look at things and say, here's a different way to think about thrifting. If you want to go thrifting, you have to sell something from your profit pile to give you the money to go thrifting with or to go garage selling with. So that's, again, it's pivoting. It's a change of mindset. But then you're not paying more money. You're not paying more money out of your pocket. You're using the money you already spent and hopefully getting it back and then re-spending it. And actually, I noticed it a lot, actually, even Rick, in the past couple of weeks, because the stuff that we bought, the only thing that we bought, and most of it, almost everything was off Facebook Marketplace, except for the one thing, to build our booth was stuff that we found on Facebook Marketplace. And in a couple of cases, it literally was, somebody came to our house, bought some stuff for me for $100. I put the $100 cash in our pocket, and I drove to some place and I bought a thing for us to use in the booth for $40. So that was really great because I wasn't spending like new money. It's old. It's kind of like old money, you know. We're old money people. I guess.
Found money. Flow through.
Yes, she's probably in her 40s.
It's a flow through expense. Actually, she's a lovely lady.
Andrew says my biggest problem is buying stuff and not listing it. I don't think that's just your problem. I know it's ours. I know that's completely ours. Don is actually calling out Carl on that and saying Carl has that problem. Shut up, Don. Facts. Heather's saying, depending upon the neighborhood, things can go, and that's because Heather made a comment about estate sales getting higher too, sort of thing. So, Don is never shutting up. T-Max says, get listed, Carl. Everybody's on your case now, Carl. But you actually said yourself that you weren't listing a lot of things. So, yeah, that's some estate sales have become really expensive. So I think that's the challenge. So if you go and look at your own stuff and start putting that up, you can still thrift, but it's not. It's not as exciting. And again, well, I'm trying to remember who was it that said it in our Facebook group. Ian McTavish had made the comment about literally it's like kind of like doing nothing but wasting time, feeling like you're wasting time, and that's what you don't want to do. So maybe it's the kind of thing that you think about, how do I go about doing it, what can I do? And if you still want to thrift, if there's nothing out there, I know I said I'm FOMO, but it's like I normally would go 2 to 3 times in a week, and I have had so much non-luck in the past 4 weeks that I'm down to 1 day now. I only thrift on 1 day.
It shows in our expenses.
It shows.
We just finished our taxes for 2024, and I showed Craig a printout of the Value Village receipts and all the thrift receipts. It went on for like 6 pages.
From last year.
Like hundreds and hundreds of entries just against thrift store purchases in Canada. And this year, I think I might have cataloged with 35 or 40 receipts, and we're already in April. So the first 3 months, it's like 35 receipts. That's so out of character.
Yeah. And Leanne says, it's exciting if you've bought it and forgot it. Yes, it's like, yay, look what I got. It's so neat. Heather said the same thing. They pack stuff away when they open the box. I have been so excited finding stuff in the past, like 2 to 3 weeks, especially preparing for the actual thrift store. But I mean, those Nintendo, I forgot all about them.
Yeah, you tuck them away thinking, oh, I'll get to those later. And then things get piled on top of that and they get pushed to the back.
And we have so much of that. Like
you still have some hockey cards and some other Star Wars cards. And
oh, yeah. And then we have the storage unit still.
Yes, with all the clothing.
With clothing and fabric, vintage fabric. And that's another thing, is trying to look at how we get rid of those type of things. But that's, so the way that it's that's transitioning a little bit towards what we're looking at is to do an antique mall is kind of like, this is how we're treating it. We're treating it as a storage locker that you can shop in. That's the smartest possible way for us to do it. Now, it does cost a little bit more.
Not that much more. If you look at
no, it doesn't. No, because our 10 by 10 unit that we are in a high. We're in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, so we have a really expensive storage units. So a storage unit for most of us, if we're looking at a 10 by 10 storage unit, is going to cost most people around $300. And our antique mall space for a 10 by 10 unit is actually costing us $325. But nobody can shop in our storage unit at all. People can shop in this. So I had heard them actually talking. They've got, in our space we're going to, which is a place called Roadshow Antiques, which is up the 400 highway, right towards cottage country, huge destination. That a lot of people go on Saturdays and Sundays. The antique mall is half of a building, and the other half of a building is a giant flea market. And the flea market is open every Saturday and Sunday for long weekends, and they have food court, like food trucks and all sorts of stuff like that. And it's like big. So yeah. And Michael makes us jealous because a 10 by 20 unit is $80 where he is, which I think is in Georgia.
I kid.
Heather says the mall's place there costs $500 plus 10% when the stuff sells. Yeah, there is a commission of 16% on ours. But again, depending upon where you are, Lisa had 10% commission. It's an opportunity for you to maybe find another way to sell. Again, you got commission when you sell on eBay, you sell on Poshmark, you sell on Etsy. The only place that doesn't really have commission is if you sell on Facebook Marketplace, right? Or your garage sale, but you don't get much money there. We saw somebody come in today when we were up there. There was a gentleman up there today. He is actually from, was it Chinese or Japanese? Japanese gentleman that has his own YouTube channel that actually was up there. And last week he's up shopping for things to take back to Japan, and he spent a few $1,000s on, I will call them Americanized type items that you would not normally find in Japan, and he's shipping them back to Japan. Julie says, I don't want to tell you what I've been paying for your 10 by 20 for 5 or 6 years. Yes, so Julie, here's your goal. See if you can find a shelf, any kind of antique market kind of place, and see if you can flip the stuff from one of your units into that. All you have to do is make sure it's clean and price it, but then people can shop it. That's like the whole idea. Heather said she did a mall a few years ago, lived in an apartment, and it was good for storage too. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to actually have a big show all about doing like trying to do antique malls. And actually, what's going to end up happening, Michael, Antiquarian Bookman, is actually going to be, I think he's going to be a guest. We're pretty sure. So there's a couple of people that we're going to have, and Diana, one witch lady, might be a guest as well. So we're going to have a couple of people. We'll talk more about that. It'll be Kennel Club members who get to be guests on this if they want to, but to hear how they do things and how they work their booths. And we're going to have our booth starting to get set up. Leanne asked, if the de minimis comes into effect tomorrow, I guess you should start posting your items made in the US. Theoretically,
that's a separate thing.
There's two different things about the de minimis. And again, take a look at our YouTube videos. We got a lot of different things in there. The de minimis is one thing, tariffs are another. So de minimis is the amount that's allowable into the US without anybody having any kind of duty or taxes charged. The taxes and duty are another thing, and it doesn't matter that doesn't matter where they come from. It doesn't matter if they come from Canada, if they're made in Canada, if they're made in China and sent to Canada, if they're made in the US and sent back into the US, doesn't matter with that de minimis. The tariff thing is something that may, if the $800 goes away, it means that then there will be tariffs on items coming in from Canada, depending upon where they're made. Again, in theory, that would mean that if you're selling a made in USA item and shipping it across the border, there will be no tariff because it's a made in USA item. But made in Canada, made in China, made in Japan, you have to, all sorts of different things could come up as made in Mexico. So you have to look at those things. It doesn't matter if it's old or new, vintage, antique, it doesn't really matter. So you don't have to put any of that.
And don't forget the brokerage fee.
And then there could be brokerage fees too.
There could be. We don't know exactly because we've never shipped anything to the States that incurred any sort of duties, taxes, or brokerage fees.
We snuck across.
Yes.
With a $5,000 Barbie doll.
Yes. When you sold your number one Barbie, we put it in a box and stuffed it under clothing in your suitcase, I think.
Yeah.
Drove it across and then shipped it from USPS within the state so that we couldn't be charged, or our buyer wouldn't be charged.
Now, there's a point here, Kendra, that's actually not, I don't know if you need to start putting made in the USA in the title, because part of the challenge is we also don't know how many US people are going to shop Canadian buyers, right? There could be, again, part of the whole thing that's happening right now is sort of the focus on Americans buying American or Canadians buying Canadian. So we think that's one of the reasons that our sales have dropped a lot. And a lot of people that we talk to say that their sales have dropped a lot as well. So, and then depending on what you use, you could use Canada Post like Lisa Bull. And a lot of people are doing that kind of thing as well.
We're trying Canada Post as an experiment.
Is a Canadian thing. Tariff is a US thing, right? No. You actually, in the US, what it is the de minimis is what's allowable in or out of a country. So unfortunately for us, our de minimis, if I drive down to the States and stay 24 hours, I have a $200 de minimis, which means that I can come back across the border with things that are worth up to $200 Canadian, and I don't pay any tariffs or duties. But the US has an $800 de minimis that was actually raised from $200 to $800. So if you're an American and you came and shopped in Canada and you bought anything back across the border, if it's worth under $800, you don't pay any taxes. But if it's worth more, you buy a $25,000 Rolex and you drive back across the border with it from Canada to the US, doesn't matter what the exchange rate is, you're going to still pay. So that's what a de minimis is. It's the allowable amount into your country from another country as you go back in. Again, that's so you don't have to worry about that. That's why the things why if Canadians get something that's sent from the States, our de minimis is quite low. So some items have that duty and taxes put on. Donna says her sales have not dropped. Good for you. So much is unknown. That's why I haven't turned my back on direct ship to Canada. Good. That's just it. And this is all something we just don't know. We don't know what we don't know. There's a stupid Cardio Mobile commercial on where a guy talks about, do you know what your heart rate is? If you don't know, you don't know. I have said that to Rick. I don't know how many times, Rick, in the past like 2 months.
Yeah.
So it's like
it's useful information because I tend to ruminate, or in the past I ruminated on a lot of different things. Right now my focus seems to be on solving the problem that hasn't happened yet, particularly about all of the stuff that's going on with our shipping from Canada to the US. And Craig keeps saying, it hasn't happened yet. Don't worry about it. We're planning what we can for it and wait until it happens and then we can react. It's like, oh, yeah, that would be good. I can stop thinking about it now.
Okay, this is just a little confusion. So when I read out this, that said, this is what Rachel Gonzalez or Renee Gonzalez says. April is Renee. I don't even. Okay, we don't know why, or you're both, but that's okay.
Are you buying things from yourself on Facebook Marketplace?
But that's part of the. Actually, that's one of the challenges here, and hopefully, when we go back to talking about if you are a member of the Kennel Club, again, we'll go back way up to the top and say that thank you again to our newest member of the Kennel Club that joined us. Oh, come on, I'm trying to get all the way up to the top there. Is you need to tell us your name versus your Kennel Club or your YouTube name versus your actual other name, because the challenge we have is we have no way to know how one links to the other. So like we just know one witch lady is Diana Fleming because we know Daryl. So Daryl, if you're watching, thank you again for becoming a member. If you do want to get into their Facebook group, then you just have to let us know how to get a hold of you. There's a video on that for members, so you can check members' videos.
Yeah. I'm just running the banner for joining our Facebook group. If you're not already a member, it's just facebook.com/Canadian Resellers.
As Sherry was saying, that's one of the reasons that one of her whatnot buyers stopped at $175 because they don't want to spend more than this amount of money. So at least I hope her other name is Heather Mick.
Yeah,
Bob knows that.
Pop on another reminder. Thumbs up and subscribe.
Now, just before we get into a little thing about our antique booth, because we're going to talk about that, I just wanted to let you know that it's not something that's in my mind only or other people's minds. Take a look at this. This happened to be a Reddit thing. It's the consequences of overconsumption in thrift stores, and I think this is also a challenge that a lot of people are having, because I would say probably, I'm going to guess, 70% of thrift stores and thrifting is clothing and shoes and purses and all that sort of stuff. And when you look at something like that, one of the biggest problems that a lot of thrift stores are having right now is what they call fast fashion. I'm not sure if you know what fast fashion is, but fast fashion, if you have never heard of the term before, is companies like Zara, H&M, online places like Shine, and even Temu, that make really cheap clothing that you basically want to wear once. You probably don't want to wear it twice because once you wash it, it may damn well fall apart. But it's it's not good, but it's trendy. And so what a lot of younger people, not myself, a lot of younger people work with is that they actually look at thrift stores as a way for them to flip through different kinds of fashions. And what's happened is a lot of those fast fashions have now ended up turning up into thrift stores, and they're being overpriced. Because if you see stuff that was at Zara and H&M and you see it priced there, it's like I keep getting frustrated when I see T-shirts priced at $8.99 and $12.99 that are used T-shirts that have been donated, and it doesn't matter if it's Value Village or anywhere. I'm talking.
I still have some sweaters from when we met, Craig.
Huh?
I still have a couple of sweaters from when we met.
Yeah.
I don't fit into them, but I have them.
Well, no, I don't fit into half of mine either. But that's the whole thing. Is so I think one of the biggest challenges that facing a lot of thrift stores on the fashion end of things, which is where a lot of resellers work their magic, is that it is all about going out. And so for them, fast fashion is actually becoming thrift stores because it's easier and cheaper to buy from a thrift store, wear something once or twice, get your Instagram picture done and that sort of stuff. And then, ta-da, you can get rid of it. You can donate it again. This is really interesting. I found a new company. Unfortunately, it's not in Canada yet, but this is an amazing sounding company in the States that is doing something, which is called the Take Back Bag. Now, I wish this would come to Canada, but this Take Back Bag is a way where you donate your clothing. They end up taking it and sorting it. So it costs you $20 to buy the bag. The bag has postage. You dump your stuff in it. Then you get $30 in what they call trashy can dollars. And the trashy can rewards are a whole bunch of things like AMC Theaters and Crocs and Nuts.com. So they're not necessarily taking your donation to have to use for another donation. I mean, there is some. I mean, you can actually, I think somewhere I saw inside this thing, there's actually one of the places that is like there's canvas on the cheap, but I think I saw that they also do things with like a couple of other thrifting kind of places. So, but it sounded to me like it was a really interesting thing to take a look at. So if you're in the States and you're thinking about doing something, take a look at this. This is a company. It's called Trashy. And the link is actually trashy.io. So it's Trashy. You can see the name up here. The Take Back Bag. So it's just an interesting thing to think about on the ways that people are starting to look at thrifting. And even on its own, a lot of some of those, even the fast fashion places, were starting to do thrifting back to themselves. So it's just something to keep your eyes open for. That's part of the challenge that a lot of thrift stores are facing. If they have little, and again, somebody said it here and made so much sense. If they have very little coming to them, then they don't have a lot that they can sell. They need to push their prices up. When they're oversaturated, they can push their prices down. Kendra says, I wonder if people go into the Goodwill bins on half price day, buying clothes for super cheap, then doing the Take Back Bag. You could buy it by the pound and do that.
You still have to pay $25 for the bag.
You still have to pay $25 for the bag, though. Yeah. At least name is her alias is now Trashy. That was Heather's in high school. Wait, I thought Heather and Elisa were the same person. I don't know.
They're talking to themselves.
They're talking to themselves. Some of the clothing needs to be ragged off because it's in terrible condition. Yeah, there's stuff that's in really bad shape too on that. So
half of it makes it.
My daughters won't buy fast fashion. No, it is horrible for the environment too. So again, it's not going to stop me, I don't think, from thrifting. I will be thrifting again. I will sing my thrifting song again for everybody if you want to. I'll do it now, and then I'll talk about. So if you joined us late, you didn't hear that's not very nice. You didn't hear me say that. What I'm talking about with never thrifting again is this is not a careless whisper for me, because so I'm never gonna thrift again. Empty stores with nothing in them, though it's easy to pretend. You know I'm not a fool. Should have known better, this would be a trend. Stop wasting time just wandering in them. No, I'm never going to thrift again the way I used to do. Oh, See, this way I'm not playing any music behind it, so I'm not going to get copyrighted infringement. And George Michael's dead, so I'm not going to get a complaint from him either. Yes, I'm singing again. Hey, Darcy Sailor. Whatnot is not very big in Canada. There's a couple of issues with it at the moment. Part of the challenge with Whatnot in Canada is they sell in US dollars. So you have to sell in US dollars. The other thing is the shipping is a lot higher because they use Canada Post shipping into the States. So they haven't really broke properly in Canada. They have just recently made some headway, and they're working together with Chit Chats, which is a cross-border shipper. But I guess the biggest challenge that will come there is as this stuff has to go across the border and you have to fill in more, it's getting difficult to sell a lot of $2 and $3 things, which is what Whatnot is known for, and then have to fill out customs forms for all of those different things. You hear "Wake Me Up Before You Go" in your future. You never know. For those of you who don't know or you haven't not followed us that long, I used to start every show with a song, didn't I, Rick? Look at the look on your face.
Why, yes.
Yeah, insert sexy saxophone part. I was going to get a kazoo just to do that. But anyway.
I see a pillow in your future while you're sleeping. Don't know whether it'll be under your head or on top of your face.
Let's take a look at our thrifting at our antique mall. So we're going to a place called Roadshow Antiques up on the 400, which is about 40 minutes, half an hour north of Toronto. This is the space that we actually are taking over today. We took it over today. It's a 10 by 10 space. So there's a little welcome working Craig in here. Yeah, the guy who was in there before was a little bit of a jerk. He had really beautiful walls up. He had a floor down. He had wallpaper along the back, and he would not leave any of them. See, Julie said, look, Julie says your songs are great. See, she remembers. And Dawn
Julie
says,
no taste. I'm sorry, Julie. You have no taste.
Charlene says she loved my entry song. See, some of you remember me singing terrible songs. Yes, he did. He took every single thing out of there. So this is where we went this morning. And this is us pulling stuff together for the actual booth. So this is a double piece credenza. This is the only thing that I bought at a thrift store in the past month.
Yeah.
Which this thing has behind it here, you can see that's actually a bridge, and it actually becomes like a big, huge arch. And it was $25 less 20%, so $20 Canadian for this big, huge thing. We also bought this off Facebook. This was a curio cabinet that we've actually put locks on.
Yeah, Craig's price was $50. I got it for $25.
Yeah. We have these, which we were so lucky. These things sell for amazing prices, and they sell really fast. And we actually picked these two up. This 5-foot long unit with double shelves and this quarter unit for $110. Unbelievable. You find there were dirty ones, crappy ones. These are $300 plus $400 cases, and we got that for $110 Canadian. And then the really fun thing was somebody left their booth. And when they left their booth, if you can see up here, what he left with was nothing on this back wall, right? So there's nothing here. One of the people who left their booths left it literally yesterday, and they had no room to take their bookcases. So they left these bookcases out on the parking lot. So we took them, and they gave us a wall and a hell of a lot of shelves. And if you can see that, that's actually snow that's in the corner of that right now.
I made a snowball.
Let's see. So that's that. So this is what our booth kind of looks like right now.
And yes, we did put pegboard in the void.
What?
We did put pegboard in the void.
Yes, I'll show. I think I have another picture of that.
No, somebody mentioned putting pegboard.
So this is the thing that I told you we bought for $20. And then we put the pegboard in behind it. And then our only casualty of the entire day, this actually had a sliding glass door on it.
Yeah, it was already cracked in one corner.
And I asked, Rick said, I'm moving all the shelves that are all sitting there. And I said, okay. And then I said, you ready to move this? And we lifted it, and he forgot to move the shelves. And so one of the shelves fell down and broke, and it broke the 2 doors on that. But we're still using it as
Open
so that
shelving.
cost us $20. So our whole booth, we had to pay $40 for this, but we also had bought this, which as you can see up here, we put pegboard up here. So, and then from Dollarama, I bought little Canadian flags. I used our 2 Dogs Digs coming soon thing in there, and I bought little pride-ish kind of flags, put that inside there saying we're coming soon. So that's what we're going to be doing for the next little while. We're focusing on, this is our new, where's a better shot? There's a good shot there. That one. No, this one? Where's a good shot of it? There. That's our good, this is our life for the next little while. So, yeah, they did work really good there. Yeah.
And those tall shelves were an amazing bonus for the annoyance of the walls being removed when we got there.
Yes, thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Carl. That is, we're looking forward to getting it filled now. For us, it's an hour from our house, so it's an hour door to door from our house. We're on the east side of Toronto. So again, we got lots of space. We're going to be doing things. I'm going to do like 2 Dogs Digs. This whole shelf, this big shelf is going to be a $10 shelf. We're coating things so that we're going to be able to do that and know what we're selling. The back wall is all slat wall, so we're going to be able to put pictures up in here. But it's surprising how fast this space becomes that space. Like it was like, oh, there's so much room. There's so much room. We run out of room. We run out of room.
Well, yeah, we were trying to figure out what's going to go in the center of the booth, and
yeah,
I don't know if the table that we're going to be bringing is going to be small.
I don't know if it'll fit there either. Yeah, we may do a little bit of shifting around, but you never know. April, that's great. April's been in a booth since October, been good so far. It can always do better, but glad to make a profit. And again, part of what I'm looking at here is trying to get rid of stuff that's been sitting around. And Lisa, how often do you dust and sell? At least, well, now we'll be going probably every 2 weeks. So because it's just an hour drive, and if I'm not thrifting, I mean, my goodness, I drive 4.5, 5 hours when I'm thrifting. So what is an hour drive with your hubby listening to some great audiobooks? So it's, and again, we used to drive to the States all the time. So it's not a big deal. An hour drive there, an hour drive back. Really thrilled. I mean, the carbon tax has come off gas, and all the gas prices in Canada just dropped by 20 cents a liter. So that's a nice little added thing too. Rick can answer that one.
No, we do not. Basically, they've given us some sample tags that has their logo on the top. They've written our booth number on one of the tags, and they've given us, I think, 5 sheets of labels. There are no barcodes. I don't know if they could implement a barcoding system because of the number of dealers they have.
And yes, I have to get Rick coffee. That's, and yeah, we'll take we go up to 407 and the 400. We should see shipping costs drop next Monday. Hopefully, yeah, that's true.
Well, not by much. The fuel surcharge may go down, 5%?
Yeah, so Rick actually printed off tags, like we give the little hang tags, and we're printing off tags that say our booth number, and we're giving codes to everything so that when we see it, we'll see we can check on a computer that comes up every night. The next day, you'll be able to see your sales, and we're doing codes. So our under $10 shelf is called U10. So we actually can see if we put in 30 things that are under $10 and we see U10, we can go, wait a second, we just sold 20
we
of them.
We got to bring up a crap load more.
We got to get some more $10 items up there. So we're doing codes like, not numbers. We used to do numbers, but we're doing codes like vintage, toy, vinyl nation. So vinyl. We're doing, what are the other ones we got? Tattoos. We got tat, the book, like all those different things, so that we're going to be able to try and do that. So it'll be interesting. Again, I don't know how it's going to work. We used to have a booth 10 years ago. So it's going to be a lot of fun for us, but I
Yeah,
hope.
our first booth, we actually went through the trouble of doing a catalog of each and every item when we first started. And that quickly went by the wayside when we realized that it doubled the amount of effort that we were putting in just to get stuff out at the booth.
Yeah. So that's where we're going to be going. And we're going to do a show again, all about our antique mall, talk to a couple of other people who are antique people. So follow us if you haven't followed us for that show. That's going to be coming up in 4 weeks. We're going to do that at the beginning of May. Our show in 2 weeks is going to be bad buys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when you come for you? So we're going to talk to you about a bunch of things that we found over the past little while. We were trying to do a thrift it or throw it, but I couldn't thrift anything. So I've got a whole bunch of things to show you that are really surprising things that I thought would be really good buys. And we're going to talk to you about the things that you need to avoid. If you are a member of the Kennel Club, just watching the Kennel Club Facebook group, you will see a link there to our Tuesday Hall Pass for Kennel Club members. So our Kennel Club chat that's going to be happening every other Tuesday. So you'll see us here again in 2 weeks if you're not a Kennel Club member. And if you are a Kennel Club member, you can join us next Tuesday at 9, where we're just going to have just a general chat. It's nothing specific, no big topic, nothing like that. Just going to babble on for 20 minutes, half an hour. We ended up going an hour last time. You never know what we're going to talk about in that. So, but thank you so much to everybody who joined us here, especially our new member. Thanks for everybody who is a Kennel Club member, helping us support you in your journey for making more money in the reselling world. And thank you for listening to me sing. And hopefully it won't turn you off so much that you decide to leave the Kennel Club, because I think it's going to be something that I used to love doing, and I'm going to keep doing it. I don't care what anybody says. I like singing, even if I'm bad at it. I don't really care. By the way, if you haven't seen it, watch Mid-Century Modern on Disney Plus, Hulu. And
I have not laughed so hard in my life watching a TV show.
And The Pit.
I don't laugh for TV shows.
I have never cringed as much as I have watching The Pit. We'll see everybody soon. Take care. Happy week. Happy selling. Bye, everyone.
Bye.